maybe make some opening remarks, then we'll take questions.
Yeah, Shaun Nua. Excited to be here. Married my beautiful wife Hillary. We got 3 kids. They're still in a snowstorm in Michigan. So when we FaceTime, well, we don't FaceTime anymore because she doesn't like to see the weather we got here. But I still FaceTime her to tease her because, come on, beautiful weather, gotta share it. All right.
Let's start with Ryan here.
Hey Shaun, Ryan Young, TrojanSports.com. You came from a very successful program, things were going well. How did they sell you on taking this job and leaving where you were to come here?
Number one reason was family. I'm a West Coast guy. I'm way west. I'm straight from American Samoa, and all of my ties are here. My family especially. So my dad has brothers in California. My mom has brothers and sister in California, and then my siblings live in Phoenix. So it was that was number one, and then number two is USC. It's so we watched when you were younger. You know, when I was a kid, you watch USC, and then there's Coach Riley. You talk to Coach Riley for 5 minutes, you want to do everything he does. So I was on board, and I'm not saying it was easy leaving Michigan. I'm one of those guys that put my heart and soul and emotions to whatever I'm doing. So that was not easy, but Coach Riley and USC made it easy.
Coach Shaun Nua, USC radio broadcast team. Coach, we heard Alex Grinch talk about the one gap approach he likes to take, and that's obviously a D-lineman's dream, and having to hold up bodies and put guys in there. What kind of body tap are you looking for from your front? What kind of physicality? What are they going to look like if they're when you line up?
It's very simple. You want big bodies that can move, you know, like yourself. I'm a big fan of that guy right there. But you want big bodies that can move, and you know, obviously, the bigger they are, it's harder to move. But we like big bodies that can move, can penetrate the gaps and get in the backfield, be disruptive, and make it as hard as possible for those quarterbacks to do RPO or even whatever tricky stuff they come up with.
Ryan Abraham, USCFootball.com. You've recruited, all over the country for defensive linemen. Have you seen maybe fewer big bodies that can move on the West Coast than we've seen in years past? It seems to be a trend. I don't know what your thoughts on that.
They're out there. You just got to find them, and as you recruit them as a younger age, you got to motivate them, inspire them, and keep pushing them and challenge them to stay with the game of football. I think they're out there. I haven't been really in the West Coast. I was at the Naval Academy for a long time, and then Michigan, a little short stint at Arizona State. So you try to stay there. But D linemen, O linemen, quarterbacks, you got to go all over the place to find those. And I think they're harder to find because they are, but they're out there.
Adam Grossbarger, Orange County Register. Depth was an issue on the defensive line for USC last year. What's your evaluation of where you are at that position on the roster right now?
We haven't been here long enough to give you a honest or complete evaluation of the depth or where we are, but I guess the right word is we are encouraged with what we've seen so far. They are a competitive unit. The numbers are low. It's why we're jumping to the portal and try to get as much help as possible depth-wise. But when it comes to skill set and competitive mindset, I think we got some in that room. So it's encouraging.
Hey Shaun, Dan Greenspan with the Associated Press. You've obviously seen success at the highest level from your time with Pittsburgh. Just what did you see? What did you learn from that helped you connect and teach up younger players?
Culture over everything. Culture of discipline, culture of positive chemistry. Everybody bought in, be on the same page. Unselfish players, coaches, everybody that's in the building pulling the same way, pulling the same direction. That's more important than any scheme. And I think the players and the coaches as well, everybody is seeing and feeling that from Coach Riley's program right now. We value culture. And Pittsburgh, Michigan, Naval Academy, culture is first, culture is right, and it's aligned with everybody's beliefs and everybody's on board. You'll make any scheme right.
Paul Goody at ESPN. Shaun, I'm curious, we have Michigan and
It's nuts. It's crazy. Sorry, I don't know if I was supposed to say that, but it's there's a lot of challenges, a lot of advantages, but you know, you have to have a very good system in it, you know, because it could help you, it could hurt you. But the time of us having to help develop young men, it's almost like cut short now, because if you don't develop, they leave, or if other players in the other program say, oh, I could get developed in that program better, they jump in the portal or whatever it is. It's a great challenge, but us coaches, that's our job. Figure out a way to get around these challenges, get through it. So I'm excited to see what we can do with it.
Speaking of the portal,
Yep.
you got Tyrone.
Yes.
That's right?
Yes, Tyrone.
Out of Kansas State, can you talk a little bit about him? What you saw from him? He's an American Samoa guy. Was there just that?
He's going to want me to tell you Western Samoa guy.
We need to make that adjustment.
Yeah.
Sorry, I apologize. Can you talk a
Nah,
little
it's
bit
good. It's
about
the same
him
thing.
and what you saw from him? Didn't play a whole lot at Kansas State.
Yep. You follow him all the way back to his days in when he first started. He's a young man that's very mature. He served a 2-year mission for the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, and he started late with his football career. I think his the best football is ahead of him, and his maturity level. First time I talked to him was off the charts, and everybody I talked to, from the coaches, that his old coaches, talk about his toughness, and the same thing is his best football is ahead of him.
Shaun, we've talked to Brian and Roy, who have been with Alex for a long time. You come in fresh to this defensive scheme. What stood out to you right away in talking to Alex about what he does and how he runs things?
Attack. It's an attack scheme, and attack, rip and run. So it's a great scheme. It's a great scheme. It's our scheme. We love it, and the players are going to learn to love it. And what better way to do it than just attack it? So simple as that.
Antonio?
Hey, Shaun, Antonio Morales from the Athletic. You talked about culture a bit, and you were at Michigan. They had a tough season in 2020. You guys bounced back in a good way this past year. This is a program that had a tough season last year and it's going to bounce back. What kind of work is necessary to kind of, rebound like that?
We take it one day at a time, trust the process and the plan that Coach Riley has put in front of us, and then help enforce it, help live it, and just take it one day at a time. It's a brick by brick thing, and we got to suffer the pain of discipline right now, or we're going to suffer the pain of regret later. So it's a very simple plan, and it's a very effective one. So brick by brick.
Hi, Coach. Mark Holton, We Are CR. Pardon me. Talked about the transfer portal, but when you're working with elite players and you start getting into close to the bowl games and the playoffs, how do you convince players to stick around and finish what they started?
That's why it's so important to have a culture of love and respect within each other. The way that they love each other, they mess with each other, everything they do. Because then it's hard for them to stay out, sit out. Even if it's just a small bowl game, it matters because they love the brother that they're playing with. So if we can get that culture here, that we are going to get it here. And I think that's the only way to do it, because every individual has different plans and stuff, but you develop that culture, it makes it simpler.
Coach Eric McKinney with WeAreSC.com. How would you describe yourself as a coach? What do you stress in your position?
Mental toughness, very, very important. Emotional toughness, intelligence, you got to be smart. Those are the things I emphasize. And every individual is different. You got to find ways to push them, challenge them, inspire them, teach them. And then there it is. Find a way to push them.
Ryan Abraham again. Have you been able to evaluate the guys you have that are currently on the roster so far?
Yeah, very little. We're still collecting data on them, but like I said earlier, very encouraged with what we see so far.
Well, this might be a little redundant then, but just Corey Foreman had, kind of a limited role as a freshman last year. What do you envision for him, moving forward with his career?
has all the talent in the world, and he's going to be pushed. He wants to be pushed, and it's time for him to shine. So Coach Manning and myself will get everything out of him.
All right.
Anything else?
Yeah.
You mentioned being from out here and that's the power of USC. What was your connection with the program growing up?
Junior Seau, man. I mean, there's a long list of guys from junior to Troy to those two young men over there. You know, it's loved it. Loved the way they play the game.
Mark, did you have any? No.
Thank you guys. Fight
Thank
on.
you.
Nice meeting you.